we think. Therefore, I declare we have a quorum in attendance and virtually, and that we may proceed with the meeting. Also in attendance this evening are Christopher Lohman, the Preservation Planner for the City of Albany, and Aaron Glennon, the Deputy Planning Director for the City of Albany. With that said, we have public hearing agenda, 2 items on the agenda. The first one we'll call 125 Jefferson Street. And it's in the center square. It's Hudson Park Historic District, and we're looking for a certificate of appropriateness for the modification to an existing garage door. This was a project that came before the commission several years ago, at which time we worked with the owner applicant to develop the response to infilling those original garage door openings of what had been a fire station to match the divided panel pattern of the original doors, or divided light pattern, and install new doors basically matching that original configuration, so retaining the historic integrity of the building. Is an image of the building, goes back to when we were first looking at it, and this is the alteration that was made to the building. We've certainly long awaited the opening of the building and the use of it, and are delighted that somebody is going to occupy one of the spaces within that building. So I would ask Christopher to fill us in with a little more.
Also, the applicant is here.
Oh, okay.
Jordan, you come up. Yeah, so Jack, this is from September of 2016 from the Tillerman Rehabilitation Project that had occurred. So I'll kind of just go through the staff memo. So the applicant's requesting a retroactive certificate of appropriateness to enclose a historic garage door, or a garage door that matches the historic profile, with a new commercial full light commercial entry door, rectangular transoms and side lights. The original door was a 15 light garage door, as you can see at the bottom right. The unpermitted modification removed a row of transoms, resulting in a 10 light configuration with a centered full light aluminum commercial door. The reminder is the scope of this hearing is a review of a denial issued by the Department of Planning and Development. This is not a financial hardship hearing. The applicant did not obtain a general building permit or a certificate of appropriateness for this scope of work prior to performing the work, which was done on December 7th of 2025. The applicant applied for their certificate of appropriateness and was issued a denial letter on January 13th of 2026, denied based on the provisions in the memo, which I have on one of the slides. 4 provisions of the historic resources overlay. So the applicant met with me at the beginning of the new year or the end of last year. I don't remember if it's the last week of December or early January, to discuss the need for a certificate of appropriateness and to amend a general building permit to include the door proposal. The enclosure of the historic garage door would have removed the door from the public purview of the historic resource overlay section of the USDO, as it is now enclosed and not considered the exterior door. And so that's kind of where we're at.
So what we're looking at now is what is currently installed as the entry door for this establishment. And what we're seeing behind it is the the door that was approved several years ago for that building. The door that was approved, I believe, was an upward acting garage door.
I believe it was fully functional. I know that the owner of the building, up until recently, had been using it to store vehicles. So it was a fully active overhead garage door.
And that's the one that we had voted on and approved that?
Yeah.
From 2016, which, Aaron, I think it's two
Well,
slides.
this was, so
Hold the picture.
the front elevations were prior to 2016. I don't know if it was 2012 or 2013, when the original application had come through for the full conversion and renovation of the building. This is from the door alteration on the Jefferson Street side.
And yeah, and the light configuration of the right door matches the historic photographs that we have from the blue form. The right one here is the easier one to see.
Is there a plan for the use of this building and the purposefulness of the garage door versus the entry door?
I mean,
There's, I'm sorry, am I allowed to talk?
Oh, yeah,
No,
that's
trust.
100%.
Yeah, there's, so the new use of the building, only of that spot is gonna be a restaurant, a coffee and small kitchen. That
That's-
area right there is the only entrance. And of course, our garage door wouldn't work. I wrote a document, I don't know.
Yeah,
What is the dynamic of the process? So can I read it, or at what point can I
the full
answer
34
the
page one.
questions?
Did you put it in there?
Yeah, the commission was supplied with the full packet that you had submitted.
Okay, can I
see
read
it.
it?
If you want, I mean, everyone has had a chance to review it, so I don't know that you necessarily need to, and it is available, but if you would like to, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, just in case, just to have more context.
So if overall the entire building, each one has a particular purpose, so that would be like the coffee shop or a small restaurant on that right side.
Yes, if you go back to the.
I recall there being a sneaker store in there.
Yeah, Capital Kicks was.
Yeah, that's not gonna be the.
They were-
Base, that's gonna be
They
on the
were,
corner.
I believe, in
Yeah,
The entrance is
the
the area I'm gonna be using is gonna be this, from the end, from the right end, that would be that one, and the next one, that one, and the one in the middle, and then the pedestrian entrance. But that would be the entrance of the building, that's why I think a garage type door wouldn't work for a commercial use, for a restaurant.
And
I
that
mean-
is the only access. that
Yes,
you
I have
to your-
I have a plan view. I mean, I submitted it with the application. I don't know if you want to take a look at it. So you can, in the plan view, you can see the entry and the full layout of the space. Okay. I mean, I don't know.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see.
Oh,
That would be I'm only renting that space of the building. That's why I need a swinging door there.
and so for reference, when the applicant had come in to discuss this initially, it wasn't made clear that the work was necessarily installed already. The discussion that I proposed would have been to, it's a non-historic door matching the historic light divide, would have been to, as we, with other projects, fix the door and install the commercial door or commercial access door, not enclose the property. But since the work had already been done at that time, it was unable to.
Yeah, I wasn't, I mean, like the document says, I wasn't aware of the certificate of appropriateness, even though I directly asked my inspector before doing anything. Of course, I'm a first time owner, I'm trying. So I didn't know what was the process.
Yeah, which, the inspector is John O'Connell. John's statement was that, when I was at the property for a related inspection, the applicant asked if the possibility of enclosing the door. John's statement then says, I directed him that while I did not see a structural reason that it could be or couldn't be done, he would have to submit an application to be reviewed, and that would also require approvals. From what I understand, this applicant may have gone forward with the project before applying for a permit or receiving approval. And he just wrote, so I just wanted to clarify that he was instructed to apply, is what John wrote. And then the building permit, that all of this falls under a condition of the building permit, is stated as work must be done according to submitted plans. And the the original change of tenant application, which it's now Station 6, it was to be Tomasa, was an interior remodeling, painting walls and ceilings, wrapping existing concrete beams with floorboard, line plank vinyl wood or vinyl roll flooring, putting terracotta tile on existing bar walls, doing a wall cutout for a food service, adding a restroom, framing only, layout attached. So we don't have documentation of any kind that shows that he was approved to do exterior modification, and that he specifically, in the approvals, were noted interior work and noted that it must be done to submitted plans.
So the garage door is going to stay and the
Yes,
door?
yeah, when
So how will people enter?
I will open the garage side door
Okay,
when I operate, and that way they can access through the swinging door. When I close, I just close the garage door. So when the door was installed, the actual structure of the garage side door wasn't touched. The fixed panels on the side of the swinging door, they were attached to the existing frame. Then everything was painted the same with the same color, and well, before I considered a commercial door appropriate because it's going to be a commercial building. It is a commercial building, and
Well, if I understand this correctly, you've got some kind of a wall, interior wall on the left side separating the business from whatever business is on the left side.
there is some divider
Yeah, there's
walls inside, but I have this wall specifically. I have an opening that connects that area.
Yeah.
And that would be a dining area, and the bathroom is right there. But I don't have access to the rest of the building because that is the way
And
the
there's no
layout
other-
is.
There's no other entry point into
Yeah,
your
no, and
space.
that is,
That's the point.
yeah, and according to the layout that I had, yeah, I mean, when I submitted the plans, I didn't consider the door, and I knew that. That's why, before doing the work, I called my inspector to see if I was okay to do it. Again, I didn't know that I needed to go through the process of the certificate of appropriateness. I mean, if I would know, of course, I would be happy to apply. I mean, since I started to work on this, I had 2 building permits, specifically for the installation of a commercial hood, a building permit for general work, plumbing permit, an electrical work permit, plus my permit from the New York State Department of Health, and workers' comp, my insurance. So I moved forward with the installation of the door because I generally felt allowed to it, not because I didn't care about the code.
So the one on the left is what it looked like. What happened to that door?
Correct, and that exact door, it is existing. Now, right now, on the picture at the right, it looks weird because all the glass behind, it is covered with cardboard. But it is right there, I didn't touch it.
So you have a new door in front of the old door?
Yes, yeah,
The old door was a roll-up garage door.
yes.
And so,
Oh, I
So when I,
so you plan on putting it up there?
that is correct. So when I
Oh,
operate the business, when I operate the business, I need to lift that
Right.
door, and then the clients and the staff with me, we are gonna use the swinging door. That will be when I close, I'll close the garage door. If, in the future, if we need to remove that door,
Do you,
the garage door, is not gonna have any damage or anything.
do you even need that garage door? Apparently, you're gonna just put it up on the ceiling. You can move it up and leave it up there
Yes,
when you're functioning.
yes. Yeah, I mean, when I.
You have no real use for it.
Right now, no, but I mean, I didn't want to consider to remove the door because I am not the owner of the building.
So the reason that, one of the denial reasons comes up and why this, like, where this comes from is, again, when, based on how the code is written, now that it is enclosed, while the applicant may not choose to remove the door, we no longer have purview over the door. The second thing is, as I stated, when I had not known the work had already occurred, the plan would be to fix the garage door and install a commercial door in the way we've done others to retain the historic light divide of the existing door, which per the code is a requirement of replacement doors, is to retain the existing light divide. Or, well, configuration.
And it seems like that, we've done that plenty of times,
Yes.
like that's.
Which is why when the applicant had come in, the initial proposal was to do that, which would have retained, you would have lost the four in the center, framed it out, but you would have kept the historic divide of the rest of the transom and side lighting, of what would become a transom and side lighting.
And in issues like this, is there any owner responsibility in making sure that their tenant understands that they're in a historic district?
That's civil.
Yeah.
That's a tenant-owner
Okay.
communication relationship. It has come up in discussion that we had large projects reviewed for this structure before, and that COAs were properly inquired then. But all that would be a civil discussion between tenant and ownership, not really our purview.
Right, because we're looking at who did the work itself, not.
Correct.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, Marilyn.
We forgot you were there, Marilyn.
Hello, I'm listening hard. Hi, all. The garage door is the door that was there, correct?
The replacement door, but yeah.
So it,
It is
based on
still-
discussion with John and from looking at the previous application, it appears that it's either a modification of the doors that had previously been there, or they were new doors based on the historic material from the numerous discussions from the initial application to renovate this structure, which
Yeah.
John and Brad Glass have both, that the initial process of the establishment of the Tillerman and the renovations was an extensive review. So
That's been going on a long time. Let me ask one more time to be clear. So we see the new door installation, even with the cardboard and all behind it, and the elevation drawing is very clear. Behind it, there is a garage door that has no, right? So my understanding is that behind it, there's a garage door that has really no function right now, and so therefore is semi-permanently in an up position. Is that correct?
no, it will be in an up
Yeah, it will
position
be.
when the business is in operation,
Marilyn,
during operation hours.
Marilyn, you're seeing the brown paper or cardboard, that's the garage door. So what you're looking at with the brown paper in those lights, that's the garage door. It's right up against the new door.
Okay, then my question is about that garage, that overhead garage door. That's my question. Is that the door, how, is that the door that has been there for quite a while, or is that a replacement door?
It's
The
been there for
overhead.
a while. It's been there for,
Well, it's been there since the application to make that modification was approved, and the owner went forward and put a garage door in that simulated the divided pattern of the original wood door that was there, but as a glazed door. So it's, the door, it's a function of the building. Now the function has changed because access to a retail space or a mercantile space requires a swinging door, and the garage door doesn't suffice.
Understood. I guess my question, what I'm trying to get at to get out of this quagmire is the extant garage door has it been approved?
Yes, right?
Yes, the garage door
Okay.
was,
Okay, the garage door, the overhead garage door has been approved, right?
Yes, it's
And-
remained in place since.
Yes, and so is it possible to consider this installation, this new assembly with the swinging door, essentially a reversible project, whereas the approved door still remains on site and in situ?
But what I heard Chris say is that now that the new exterior door is there, the previously approved garage door is outside of our purview. So now that previously approved garage door, carefully considered in the initial restoration renovation, could be taken out at any time because it's now an interior element, which essentially is kind of an adverse effect, even though I know HRC doesn't really use that language, to the building, because now there's essentially for our purposes, there's no more garage door. So am I correct?
Yeah.
So that's the real issue, is it looked like a garage, had the garage door. Now there's a door in front of it, essentially making that garage door not an exterior door. But they could take off the existing door and put in, or do something like we've done plenty of times with a garage door looking thing, an installation to make it look like a garage door with a swinging door.
I mean, could you solve this just by removing the second garage door, the actual garage door?
Well, so the issue is that so the section of the code, there's a couple that it was denied on, but the section of the code that I think applies here the most of help would be 375-206 1D16 is that there's a section for the original door, but a replacement door should be constructed to fit the entire opening in length, width, depth, placement, and style or configuration. So with the new enclosing door, or the new modern commercial door,
What has been built?
has created a 10 light configuration, while behind it was an original 15. It creates a bit of a jarred appearance. It's not the configuration. A solution that could have been, could possibly, you guys could also, or condition or ask, would be to, as John has recommended or mentioned before, is move the side lights and transom similar to a storm door and match the same configuration that's behind it. And also I can't condition that they keep a door in place for removal of historic material later or modern changes. That's not something we can do, so.
yeah, the one thing that was done, and we can't always, unfortunately, we don't have council, but, was for the Trinity Alliance building that's, in the Mansion District. The one thing that was done there with the addition and the enclosure of the original entrance was that there was a preservation easement placed on that application that Trinity Alliance was open to and fully understanding that, you know, they were amenable to entering into an agreement with the city for, you know, the treatment of what was a historic exterior feature now becoming an interior feature that they wouldn't alter or, you know, remove the material without first, you know, notifying the city and the Historic Resources Commission. Whether that's something that, you know, the property owner.
That's, let me try one more time. That seems viable. Seems like paperwork and viable. I guess my gut says this is very unfortunate. I am pleased that although the newly installed door assembly, the new door assembly, although it does not match the panel configuration of the garage door, it generally approximates it. And if it did not do that, I think it would be a different situation. But visually, personally, I don't find the configuration terribly detracting from the facade, which is not really our issue here, but it's not a bad installation in my mind. It's not the appropriate one, and as we would have done it, but I can imagine much worse. So an easement, as you just described, Aaron, might be a solution, but here's a different question is when we see a storm door or a storm window added, we still consider the primary door or the primary window an exterior element, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so is it possible that we consider this a storm enclosure, essentially a secondary glazing above, on top of the uh, the original, in quotes, garage door, which will be retained in place, and therefore available for future restoration.
It is possible. It's a case of like, it's something you guys could do. So
I would just, if you know, whoever puts forward a motion, just clearly articulate that it's,
the owner isn't here.
no, Tony is here.
Okay. Because an easement wouldn't be able to be done by Jordan or the applicant. It would have to be done by ownership, and ownership would have to agree.
Right.
Only bringing that up just so we don't have a motion with someone. That's why I want to make sure it was.
Yes.
Second is also, and again, it's your guys' purview, with storm windows and doors, we often do require they match the rear configuration.
So, and the door that we're talking about, the garage door, is a replacement. These aren't historic building materials.
Right. It's
So-
just a code compliant, historically appropriate door that
Right.
matches. For yeah.
So if this had come to us in the planning stage, we would not have recommended this solution.
So,
Likely, there's a possibility that we wouldn't have recommended this solution, obviously. That's my opinion.
yeah, as stated, when the initial contact with me, the plan would have been to fix it in place and install the door within it, and as we've done with other projects like the B2 James and other large overhead door fits.
Right. The challenge I'm having is the visual discomfort of that configuration. I'd almost rather not have the garage door, have the garage door permanently affixed above. So that, you know,
Yeah.
we could say, keep the garage door affixed. We're counting it as your primary exterior door. This is a storm configuration that for all intents and purposes, you're using as the primary entrance and exit.
Well, if you fix the garage door up in the up position, so that you no longer have that visual discontinuity between the grid pattern, you'd have what, for all intents and purposes, may not meet exactly the letter of the code, but it's a divided light pattern that works, and is not dissimilar to the door that is up the street further that was put in replacement of a roll-up door, or garage door. In which case, this becomes the storm door, you're right, it's reversible.
Yeah.
And it's the way we treat storm windows. They don't have to be original wood storm windows or things like that. They're a reversible item.
Yeah.
So with the reversibility and the condition that the original garage door remain in place, but remain in the open position relatively permanently while this is in operation, then visually it works.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that seems like
That's a great idea.
good
I think
solution.
it's fine. Maybe with the caveat that the original door be maintained on site and horizontal.
Yep.
So we do remember we have someone signed up to speak.
Oh, okay.
So
Does that happen, that happens after we make a motion or before we make a motion?
We do
Well, yeah.
before the motion.
Before the motion, yeah.
There's public comment.
I'd like to offer the motion that the,
Or take public comment first.
you want the comments first? Go.
Yeah.
And then just so we know, the commissioners have been supplied with 2 letters, one from Patrick Dodson and one from Michael Peroto, and then we have a member signed up to speak.
Let's go first. So do we have someone signed up to speak?
We do.
Are they online?
Electronically or in person?
Electronic.
Oh, okay.
Lee,
Oh, is it Lee? Oh.
Lee.
Don't derail us, Lee.
You're out there, Lee.
Lee, can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
hi.
can.
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Hi, Lee.
How's everybody doing? Where are you, Maryland? You in Arizona?
Yes.
Okay. It's nice and warm there, right? Just like it's nice and warm. Well, it's not really warm down here. It's actually a chilly 58 degrees. And that's chilly for people out here.
You're on the phone.
Lee, you have 3 minutes.
Okay. Well, I think after looking at this project has been around a long time, and I don't know, but I like the idea of affixing the existing garage door in its open position, keeping it in place, and having the side lights, door, and transom somewhat matching the light configuration of the garage door, which this somewhat approximates. It could be a lot better, but I think it works. You know, you still have the original material in place if this were to ever come out and the original material is still there. So that's my 3 minutes.
Thank you, Lee.
Thanks,
Thank
Lee.
you.
Thanks,
You're
Lee.
welcome. Hmm.
Stay well, Lee.
Thank you.
A motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we, recognizing the fact the process was not done properly and we decry that, but we believe that under the circumstances, the existing door that has been put there should be understood with the caveat that the previous and more historic building or door should be kept horizontal, the structure intact.
I second the motion.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Yeah, second the
Oh,
motion.
sorry. Okay. Any other comments before we vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried.
You know, if anybody at a later
I
date
look forward to going to your
wanted to turn it into a
restaurant.
garage, it would be there. Yep.
Jordan, so you'll,
There's gonna be station 6.
so you'll get from me in the next few days, the COA and all of the stuff that's been on hold will get pushed through and out. You'll get issued those probably next week, okay?
Thanks so much for your time, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Especially in this nice weather.
When do you open?
Well, I wonder that. Probably it's gonna be early next week, early next month.
Oh, great.
If everything goes smooth.
Okay.
All right,
I
I look forward to it.
Wishing you all the best getting
Yeah.
it started.
Thank you
Good
so
luck
much.
to you.
Feel free to stop by whenever you want.
We will.
Absolutely.
Might help
What
to have a
ki- like,
statement
it's- so it's a
from the owner
restaurant,
of the
like a-
building saying that
Yes, it'll be a restaurant. It's gonna be a coffee
Dinner.
shop. It's gonna be. We're gonna have, well, due to our new budget, we're gonna need some bakery for later. But right now, we're gonna focus on some small half kitchen menu and coffee shop, multiple drinks, prep sandwiches, and it's gonna be breakfast and lunch. Probably the hours for operation probably between 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Cool.
So
We'll check it out.
if you wanna swing by, have a nice coffee.
Thank you.
I'll be
Yeah,
there.
we will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
The next item to come before the commission is, the community builders development on Grand Street, 70, 108 through 114 Grand Street in the Mansion Historic District. And looking for this is a return visit for this group, which we saw and made comment previously. There's many of those comments have been addressed in the current iteration. So if, Christopher, if you want to just give us the brief overview.
Sure.
I'll ask the applicant to speak to it.
So the applicant first appeared before the Historic Resources Commission for their first concept review on January 11th, 2025. And then they appeared on October 9th, 2025 for their second concept review of the proposed new construction and was provided numerous comments from the Historic Resources Commission. Following that concept review, the applicant worked with planning staff to address the recommendations to the best of their ability. They are currently proposing to construct 1 2-story structure at 70 Grand Street and 4 3-story structures at 108 to 114 Grand Street. So with the way this is laid out, me and Aaron felt it would be best to address 70 Grand Street, which is COA 1192 first, since it's separate from the family of 4. We can have that, vote on that, move on if that works for the commission.
Then we can also do either for the 4 structures, for new construction residential structures, we can do them either one at a time and have you kind of what we've done in the past for the Clinton Avenue new construction, do them one at a time.
go through them, ask any questions, address it and vote on them, or do it as one large grouping if there are no major conditions or requests or, you know,
Are these two separate COAs?
they're all separate COAs.
They're all separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do 70 grand. So I don't know if community builders and Springline, the representatives would like to introduce themselves as well, and then we'll start with 70 and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm Angelo Germano, project architect, Springline Design.
My name is Vinay Bomber. I am the development project manager for the Mansion Initiative.
My name is Hassan Bahar, the design and construction manager. I was here last time as well to represent the community builders.
Thank you for having us.
Sure. Yeah, so 70 Grand Street, Aaron, can you actually pull up the side by side?
The elevation?
Yeah, there should be, yeah, so the changes that were primarily requested by the Historic Resources Commission was for 70 Grand Street, that's the wrong page, sorry. Was to have the proposed front door shown, the distance between the bottom and second story oriel and the top of the main entrance should be reduced to be consistent with other oriels in the district. That was what was recommended at the October 9th hearing. A belt line or decorative band should be included along the foundation to increase the visual separation between the street level and brick facade. The applicant should provide an in-context colorized rendering which introduces measured elevations of the surrounding structures, and the elevation should be updated to show a running bottom pattern. That's what the commission requested.
How did it get better? I take it when there's an indentation and a distance where the alley is between the church and
It's
your
a rendering, yeah. It's a rendering here from the side elevator. That's the side.
It flares out.
The way that it sits on the lot, it actually,
Oh. So,
so
okay.
that's
Okay.
back here.
Yep.
You actually look at it.
Yeah, the rendering software does that
Yeah,
for some
it
reason. Yeah.
Put a little slice on the top and
Yeah.
foreshorten people. What's nice about it is that the former church building still has some windows that will have light going in, which is good.
So before the oriel wasn't low and didn't come down low enough, and now it comes down too far?
That's one of planning's notes, is that the lower trim of the second story oriel now should be raised a little bit to be in line with the second floor to alleviate the intrusion of the space between the door and the primary entry. Maybe a little bit of an overcorrection was done.
What are the heights of the doors? I mean, would that be part of shrinking that?
Other standard size, 6, 8, 7 foot.
So they're 7 foot.
It looks like the sill of the, and in the drawings it's hard to tell, the sill of the window. Oh no, it's a little lower. So the oriel window is a little bit taller. So if they condense it so that the sill of the oriel lines up with the sills of the other windows. Because right now it looks like it's hard to tell with perspective. It's amazing how computers made drawings so much worse. Where is the beauty in architectural drawings anymore?
It is, I mean, it's protruding out, so it does give a little misleading information to your point.
Yeah.
Because the window sizes are equal in size and height.
Okay, so they all do line up. The
Yes.
lintels and the sills are all at the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the perspective of the low window, bay window.
far does it come out?
Maybe you see the rendering again?
Yeah. And there's this side, you have this side elevation in the submission.
Oh, that's quite a bit.
Yeah.
That will distort the computer's view of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question in the pack that we received. Most of the other buildings have the elevations drawn with adjacent structures. This is really, the one image right here is really what we have, right? There's no front elevation
What we're looking
otherwise showing this in context.
Well, with the other 4 structures, I believe that was a requirement to have just the front elevation drawings with the neighboring. This application, it was only to have a scaled rendering of the proposed structure with the neighboring church and the neighboring residential. There was no requirement at the, I believe, the concept review to have just elevation drawings with the adjacent structures.
Where is the floor of the oriel?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like oriel should just match the ceiling and the floor
Of the second floor.
of the second floor.
It drops down too far on the bottom.
Yeah. So is there like a step down into it in the floor
No,
plan? Like why is it so
It's a
low?
mass, it's a volume.
But when you walk out onto it, there's a floor, so
But you're,
it should just be
but
under.
there'll be a space between the floor and the bottom of the oriel.
Why?
Thought we were trying to accommodate the previous.
Because that's where we are.
I mean, that's
I think gone a little bit too far.
Yeah.
Understood.
It just seems to be kind of crushing the door.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
door loses some of its verticality.
It diminishes its importance as a main door too.
So,
I think also to answer that, this round was really taking into account for, which the previous rounds didn't, was the actual sidewalk elevation grade, right? So placing those doors in the proper height. So as we said, the door height and the oriel, like the interstitial space in between the two, had you brought the oriel up, it would just be this awkward sliver of brick, which may not look so great. You know, we could have thrown that on the screen and we all thought the scale of that just maybe not appropriate as well, so.
could you raise the door because because that's also not the top of the door is also not the ceiling.
Right.
So what if you just raised the door so that the oriel began at the bottom of the oriel begins at the ceiling height?
Yeah.
And then the
That-
top of the door is.
Yeah, that's another solution. Instead of like making the oriel bigger, make the door bigger. Yeah.
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 That would work. That would work. It would, you know, those panels would squeeze down a little bit, not look so heavy.
Again, I think it was a judgment call at the time, just to address the comment, but certainly take that into consideration.
I have a question. I can't recall if we discussed why it's an oriel and why, say, not a bay. That's one question. And the second is, do you need the square? It pops out a lot for this building, which is relatively squat because of its width and only being 2-story. Do you need the square footage for, is the square footage part of the requirement that you have in that room? Probably not, right? It's a conference room?
No, it's a conference room, it's.
Yeah. So you could bring it back, you could not have it as deep, you could lessen the projection if
Or
that
make
was
it-
felt appropriate.
Get a more traditional bay window with angled.
Something, yeah, it's clunky as it is for the reasons I think that folks have just spoken to, yeah. And it would be nice with those doors being taller, for sure. Instead of a 6'8", at least a 7'0".
I think a lot of this drew inspiration from what used to be there, so it might just be be a product of trying to replicate what was on the site before. If we have the creative liberty to stay within that, but like you say, go with bay windows instead of oriels, I think certainly approach that.
Well, in my opinion, which is only one, it's new construction at number one. And number two is one of the very nice things that an oriel or a bay does is break the plane of the facade and gives more interest at the streetscape to that building and to the streetscape. But from my standpoint, I don't know that it needs to be a full oriel versus a bay. But again, just one voice.
Question on the door comment was, would that apply to both doors? The one on the right-hand side, which is a standalone, or?
No.
Yeah, I think just the center doors.
And I was actually even thinking of something more like a transom above the door, so not necessarily making the doors taller, but creating
Uh-huh.
a trim space or transom space above.
Yeah. Giving the door opening basically a little more presence in the facade, not just a punched hole.
Yes.
I mean, the one thing the oriel does is a square projection could be made shallower, so it doesn't project out as far. But one thing it does do is it provides that cover protection at the entryway. And a bay wouldn't do that appropriately.
No, not for two doors.
And moving on.
I have an additional comment about the brick, John, if you think it's a good moment to speak to that. So, Chris or Aaron, could you pull up the sheet that shows us on the rendering? Again, it's a computer pattern, but on the rendering, we've got kind of a pattern there, much not a traditional appearance of brick at all. And then if you go to the sheet that shows us more about the brick, I think it calls medium range or something like that. And I think we have prior to on other projects requested that brick be more monotone rather than the variety which can come off of a palette if you're not specifying otherwise. And I'd recommend that rather than that great range of color of brick that we see in this image and shows up on that spec sheet, that instead we get whatever color of brick is selected, that it be really monochromatic, which is what we'll generally see on the street.
The other drawing that looks square at it is more uniform. This one has more variety.
Yeah, but if you look at, let me tell you, actually, I've got open. If you look at after the elevations, the next sheet shows 470 to 479 medium range smooth. And that brick also looks like it's got quite a range of color, which is I think how we get this pattern.
Yeah, I see.
Big 66.
So I would recommend that we consider adding that as one of the requirements.
Including that really dark color.
Oh, yeah.
Marilyn, this is the correct material, correct? Specs that you were talking about?
Wait a minute, something odd happened. I wasn't seeing you all, but I was seeing the PowerPoint deck. But I have on my other screen also the PowerPoint deck as Chris had submitted. So now I see you all, but I don't see the PowerPoint deck. So I don't know what happened or what the question is.
Oh,
Also,
But
the piece,
what are you all looking at?
hold on.
It's a different document that Erin pulled up, which
Yeah,
is probably
the
why, it's probably
specification.
only screen sharing.
Oh,
My
okay,
text couldn't see.
okay.
But what she
Okay.
pulled up was that, it was, oh my gosh, I just lost the image. It was, she had pulled up what you were looking at, Marilyn, because I had it pulled
Okay.
up too.
Okay. So both, I think, my objection came from both seeing that rendering and that the great variety of brick color there, as well as on this sheet, where it says top left corner, 470 to 479, medium range smooth. And you can see that there's quite a range of brick color there. And instead, my recommendation would be that we specify a minimal, that a variation in color should be absolutely minimal. Which is done all the time. I've done that on jobs, and I'm sure these guys have as well.
Yeah, that's certainly in keeping with what you see, the neighboring buildings, a rather uniform gradation of brick, not the range that this exhibits.
Should there be a sill, even a very small one, a lighter color underneath the three main doors going in, or particularly the two in the middle? Like it's totally flush. And I don't mean you want to put a bump there to make it hard for a wheelchair to go in, but I wonder if it shouldn't just have an inch or two slanted down. If you look there, it goes solid right into the cement.
Oh, very good.
But it only allows half an inch transition, so.
Yeah.
I mean, there will be a threshold there.
Yeah, it needs a threshold, it needs a threshold of the lighter color.
Yeah, I mean, we can work on a color scheme for the threshold, but we do have to be ADA compliant
Yeah.
because it is a business.
I think we could
Right now,
provide
there's
like
none.
door saddle detail, like a section detail showing that, but I don't know if you'll actually see it in a rendering.
No, you're not gonna see much there.
Yeah, so that's
Not
why
at this scale.
we can include a door section detail that shows you exactly what saddle we're going with.
As long as there's something there.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a very good point, Jack. You might also have enough room. You've got a pretty good vestibule to pull those doors in a bit and then ramp between street level and the floor level of the vestibule. Just a little bit more protection from, especially the double doors. I don't know how much space you can give up in the police substation, but to give a little more protection from rain and snow and ice and winter and, those things. But I think having it at grade is, even with that little threshold, it's a bit risky. So if there's more space to move it back in, it might do the project well.
Concern about that is when we talk about ramps, they have to be a certain length.
Yes.
So you
Oh,
may
well.
and intrude into the sidewalk or take up considerable amount of space in the vestibule.
And I wasn't thinking as much as a full ramp as a sloped, kind of an extended slope, small, I don't even know what to call it, maybe kind of an extended threshold, such that you don't have additional railing requirements under ADA, but you can get in a wheelchair, but you also can get some protection from the weather. But that follows really Jack's recommendation, which I think is appropriate, of visually these shouldn't be way, way down at the sidewalk as is shown.
The fact that there's no difference is one reason why the Oriole looks so huge on space, because it shortens the It's another thing that shortens the doors.
Right, right.
Some of this is an illusion on the computer.
Yeah, I'd just like to stick to that topic for a second. I mean, I know earlier, John, you had mentioned that the Orioles sometimes would act as a natural canopy. So these, the rain and the elements that we're talking about here, I think if we do keep the Oriole and don't go with the bay window, obviously shorten it, raise the door, hopefully we can satisfy that comment. I worry too much about this idea, while it may be, in theory, not a bad idea, but once you start having that domino effect of now you're doing a recess entry, now you're doing a longer, call it a extended threshold with a little bit more of a slope pitch, it starts to have other adverse effects on the building construction by having these seams that recess and you're allowing more natural forces to penetrate into these corner details that aren't as great as just having a flat wall. So, I mean, if we can even, we're trying to keep to the historic fabric of the rest of the block. And even by creating this, you're almost breaking that rule. So, I think if trying to solve one problem, we're creating a few others. That's just my general take on that. But, I'm willing to have a discussion and explore what other options we can come up with here. I think, again, like you said, it is a little bit of an illusion. There will be a threshold. It won't read as like, right on the ground. There's going to be a saddle. There's going to be possibly this Oriole to provide that canopy and protection. And we can do somewhat of a recess in that door just to give it a little bit more protection, but also ADA has a 8-inch maximum requirement for the door reach, so that someone that's approaching the door can't be too far now that their arms can't actually reach the handle. So, we can play with that door depth to help a little bit more as well, but
If it's set just a little bit deeper in
Sure.
the thickness of the wall, but not
Right.
returning the walls,
right,
doing something more
Right.
elaborate like that.
It's not flush.
right.
Right.
And those are all details we can include in our package so that you can see, like, besides the elevations, these are supplementary details for the threshold, for the door jamb details, the head details, so we can really dive into how this will be constructed.
This is a very attractive building, and it's a vast improvement from the one that was there.
Are we doing motions?
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Motions for,
So we're gonna take 70 separate
okay.
from the residential structures.
We assigned them to speak on these as well.
Yes.
If you guys want to do public comment, we do that too.
Lee, you have 3 minutes?
Yeah, I got 2 minutes if you want me to have 2 minutes now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a nice elevation. The Oriole is the whole second floor seems to squat the first floor. I would suggest, like it was previously suggesting, raising the double doors, the height of the double doors, and I would also think about raising the heights of the first floor window and the first floor door. It looks too squat. And all of these changes on the first floor, in my mind, would require moving the second floor windows and everything slightly higher. I do not have a problem with the variegated brick color. I think it adds some excitement to the block and makes it stand out a little bit, but still it's it blends in with the rest of the streetscape. I really think that new buildings in historic districts should be 1/1 windows and not try to mimic 2/2s and 6/6s. That's my opinion. But I think it's a great project. I really like the building, and it deserves to be approved. That's it.
Great, thank you.
You did that in a minute and 50 seconds.
You're chiming in, that's good.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You've got control. That's your job.
Well, we've gotten public comment and we've got an extensive discussion. Would someone care to make a motion in this regard?
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
So I would move to approve with conditions that the center double doors have a transom above them or other trim, but I would, to give them more height below the projecting oriel window, which would then be shortened from the bottom so that the window heights all continue to match. And, sorry, Lee, and that the brick colors be kept more consistent with lower variation in shade and color. Did I get everything we talked about? Is there anything else?
I don't know if you can mention a transom without explaining what you mean by a transom. Are you talking a lot of little windows like that, or big windows? Like a transom is something we really haven't discussed what one would look like.
Be reviewed by staff.
To be reviewed by staff. I mean, I think I would say it should be a clear single pane, because, yeah, as to be reviewed by staff as historically appropriate for other double door transoms.
Okay.
Was that? So that, yeah, because people should know what we're voting on.
I'll second.
Comments? Okay. We have a second, a motion. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you, it's carried. Move on to 110. We're doing these.
And so again, the reminder is we can review them all as a group. If you guys want to put specific conditions and vote on them one at a time, we can do it as a package, whatever works for you guys.
I vote for group.
We don't have our attorney here, so we don't have.
I know, yeah, we're gonna make up decisions ourselves.
So finding the last one. Okay, so at the concept hearing that they were at in October of 2025, the request for 108 to 114 was that the design of the flush-mounted oriel window found on 108 Grand Street above the entrance is not consistent with the character of the district. The applicant should consider revising the proposed oriel to be more consistent with similar features found in the Mansion Historic District. The massing and projection of the cornices on all sites is not consistent with the larger grand scale of the cornices found within the district. The applicant should utilize height and/or depth to increase the scale. And then all elevations will need to show the proposed treatment for foundations and stoops. They should not appear to be a poured concrete core, but instead should be textured.
That was from the concept review.
I'm just noting the transom of the door.
I was too.
Now we have a definition for trans.
Now we got it. Okay. Just
Are they basement units or there's utilities down there?
Basement, garden level.
That's what I call them, garden apartments.
The 114, the far right one, is accessible through the back. It's an accessible unit. The far right one. Yep.
Do you have the streetscape of them, or are we looking at them individually? So here's the.
Yeah. So I see in your comments about dimensions and proposed treatments for the stoops not appearing as simple poured concrete. But is there it's just because I'm trying to remember, and the recommendations are way above all the pictures of the.
So for this one, the planning staff's recommendations involve that the applicant must produce cornices which are appropriate massing and projection. And then the other one is that the applicant will need to provide staff with a stoop diagram clearly noting all dimensions and proposed treatments for the stoops. That the stoops must not appear as simple poured concrete, but instead should be textured appropriately. That's the staff recommendation for this.
It's interesting that the stoops are wider on the bottom than they are once they get up to the door.
Is that true, or is that a rendering thing?
It might be.
Because on Jen's, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
The steps are the same width,
Yeah, okay.
so I think it blends in with the background of the base stone and again, perspective.
In one of the elevation drawings, there was on the bottom right-hand corner, there was a note specifically about the troops in detail. Right at the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
The two perfect squares in the front, not on the side, but in the front. Every element there is a vertical element, except for the two squares. And I wonder if the squares could be made to look a little narrower, even if it's just by molding. See that there.
The trim on the bay?
Yeah, see the trim on the trim on the bay, they're squares, perfect squares. And they don't seem to go with the rest of the building. They might be altered just by just even putting some molding or something in there, or so that they're more compatible with the two narrow windows above it that are in the bay. They look like they don't belong to each other, and they should be a panel that's part of each of the bays would have their own panel underneath. There's no problem with the break in between on the sill or that type of thing, but the squareness of it, the cubist quality just doesn't seem to go with anything else in the building, much less the two narrow, close together windows in the bay.
And I don't really so much mind 2/2s, but definitely not those 4/4s. All the way on the right.
Do you have a suggestion for an alternate window?
Probably the like 2/2, jump it to like the gray to match kind of more like the gray one. Although the windows in the red building look like they're smaller than the ones in the gray.
They are.
They are. Is that true or is that a drawing fluke?
It's a little true. I think the 114 also is one of the comments that we got last time was regarding the floor plan, and because the cross street seemed a little bare, we actually flipped the entire floor plan, added more windows on the other side, just to give that street more life.
Mm-hmm.
So, some of these, the first 3 buildings, they have a lot less light and air, so we kept those windows larger. And here, we have plenty of windows, but it helps with the streetscape. But for the apartments, we figured we can try to keep the scale down a little bit more, just to let the whole building. Holistically, if you look at this from the corner, it would look a little off if this right-hand side was like these smaller windows and the front of the building was these. But we're open to comments and critique here. That was just a design decision.
Is there a view where we can see the front and the side together
Yeah.
to see what that would look like?
Well, they're so far apart, the matching windows on the far right on the side we rarely ever looked at the same time they're looking at the windows in the front. There's a big distance between them. It's not like you're going right around the corner and they mismatch. And you're broken up by the bay window or oriel window, whatever it is. So it is a furry.
I can do a slide with the front elevation and side elevation. There's no oblique.
I hear Mr. McEnany's point. I don't think as I would say, to make them, the front windows a little match the height of the other ones.
You mean the other ones on the street?
Other ones on the street, yeah.
On that floor.
Are these entry side lights like a requirement? Like you need to have additional light, or could they be treated differently? Do they all need to have side lights?
No requirement, they can be treated differently.
Did we finish the discussion about the light configuration of the windows at the far right?
I was suggesting 2/2s to match the.
Yeah, I think so too.
And to make those the same height as
great.
the building next to it.
Great, I agree. What do you all think of the single side light on the doors?
I think there's just other treatments that could be done. Maybe the door has to be brought more on center with the steps. But it just seems like more modern, I don't know, I guess where this is new construction, but I don't really understand their intent.
Well, they're a little monotonous that you get 4 in a row.
Yeah, that too.
And maybe if there was just one here and one someplace else, it wouldn't
see it differently.
You wouldn't do it if you somewhere in between, in the middle, something different was there. It would look less institutional.
Erin, could you pull up the drawing? I don't know what number. Oh, can you show me what number that is? G2A, because that's got. I like. I think that's I like the way you can see the impact, and to the side light issue, that rendering really shows that the doors are recessed, and I don't know if that would, I'm agnostic on the side light issue, but in that, the side lights don't really matter.
Yep. This one here.
Because when you look at it like that, it's a little weird,
Yeah, I like that rendering. It's really nice.
but this rendering is,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yep. And the additional light is nice. So, yep, good point.
I have a dog, would be very happy making sure there was an additional light.
Down at the dog's height.
Yeah, it's a short dog. too.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah, the indentation makes that problem go away.
and then I would say with those two center cornices, bulking them up a little bit.
Yeah. They look like the two poor people out of the four.
That's also a new view of looking at the stairs this way.
The comment on the cornices, the two center ones? That's what you meant? That's what you said, Erin? Especially the one without the bay. Right? Especially that one. It's got a lot of height between the top of the lintel and the base of the frieze. Yeah.
Do you guys want to do public comment?
Do you guys have any additional comments or questions? No.
I'm ready.
All right, Lee.
All right. I commend the developers, the owners, for filling in this once full block, and it looks good. I, of course, have my concerns about windows. I think all new windows to new buildings within historic districts should be 1/1. And the building number 2 from our left, I think rather than have a beefed up cornice, why not bring that building, the roof down a little bit? That would give it a little bit more variety in building heights, because I also think that it's just one straight line across. And I don't know, you want things to look a little bit more exciting. And if you bring the roof down to that light gray building, that will solve the problem of that big gap of brick between the bottom of the cornice and the second floor window lintels. Other than that, I think it's a project worth approving, in my opinion. That's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lee.
You're welcome, anytime.
Lowering the roof height of that intermediate building, propose
Yeah,
issues?
I do want to speak to that. I think last time I brought up to this committee that we are adding solar panels as required by the HCR. And part of us increasing these parapets and the roof lines were to basically screen those so that they're balanced as solar panels and you won't see them. So while we can certainly play around with the building heights, I would say this is really like the bare minimum, and if anything, we would have to increase to create variety between the buildings.
And not almost have to increase some of the other, we feel we could go lower. New energy code requires more roof insulation, and then you've got the factor of the solar panels that we're trying to hide as well. So this level is probably the minimum we could go. We'd have to play around with addressing, bringing the other buildings up.
If you were looking for variety and you don't like the monotony of 4 in a row, it'd be easier to make 1 foot higher with just a little soffit.
Yeah,
right.
And it would just break it up.
Yeah, you can do that with a different quantity.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have to go higher, not lower, is really the summary.
I was already mentioned.
But the 4 identical that's a good point that Lee makes. Because the whole block is not that way.
Before we made a motion, I was gonna make a comment concerning the archaeology. I think I made kind of a non-official comment the last time. I don't think I spoke.
It was all through, during the concept review, yeah, we did discuss the phase 1A and that the SHPO correspondence letter.
Okay, we discussed all that?
It was, if I remember, it was in the agreement correctly.
Okay, so I don't.
If you want to address anything, then you can.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't remember if I had addressed it or not, so I was prepared to say something, but did I read sections of the report?
You did.
I did. Okay, all right, forget it. All right, you guys are fine with the archaeology. We're not requiring anything else. I'm glad that you remembered. I guess I should have looked. I guess I could have looked back at the recording.
It's hard to keep these meetings straight.
So yeah, as discussed with you guys, if any of you do want to make motions and you want to do it as a group, or do it say one at a time for conditions, whatever works best for whoever's going to make the motions. So.
One at a time, right? Does that make it easier or no?
Well, we could make a single motion if we know the addresses of that gray building and the red building.
Whatever we think.
I can, so we have them.
I think those are the only two we had comments on.
110 and 114.
Yeah. 110 and 114.
Gray is 110, the far right one is 114.
Okay.
That's 108, that's 110, 112,
and
then the corner is 114.
I'm happy to take a stab at it unless somebody else wants to.
No, you do it.
All right, I move we approve with conditions that for 110, I move that we approve 108 to 114 Grand Street with conditions for 110 and 114 with conditions for 110, 112, and 114. The conditions for 110 and 112 are that the cornices be made more increased in depth and verticality, subject to staff approval, and that the applicants consider height variation. For 110.
And we're looking at 112.
And then for 114, so we included 112 with a cornice, with a junky cornice, but there's nothing else.
Yeah, correct. No, the chunky corners.
Can you zoom back out, Erin?
Yep. Is back there.
All right.
114 is about windows.
So that's why I wanted to make
Yes.
them more comfortable.
So then 114 would have windows equal in size, height to 110. Also be 2/2.
Is that just on the second floor?
And just on the front?
Well, the first floor looks like it's the same height, but all the windows are 2/2 on the facade for 114.
Turn the corner.
And that those windows on the second floor match the windows in 110.
Height of the front
Match
and
the
side
height.
facade?
Yep.
Yeah,
Am I allowed to just?
well, what's
We're
the
in the middle
side?
of
Can you
motion.
turn it around to the side? Because I don't think we were really talking about the side, we were talking about the front.
I just have clarifying for the motion.
Yeah, I wasn't really, but the side windows should also be 2/2.
Yeah.
So for the front, it's 2/2, and the second floor matches that of 110. For the side, it's that the windows are 2/2.
Hold on,
Yeah,
hold on.
it's just those square ones are like bathrooms and kitchens, so you really can't go.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
we're
Hold
leaving
on,
those alone.
okay.
Sorry, we're in the
Hold on,
middle of a
we're in the middle of a
motion.
motion, we still need a second.
I'm done.
Second.
To make some comment about the stoops, the detailing of the stoops.
I didn't think we did, but I don't, the picture that I'm looking up at Commissioner Garrity's rendering, I guess, and that applicant must provide staff with a stoop diagram noting all dimensions and proposed treatments for the stoops with appropriate textures.
Okay, so you wanna add that to the motion?
Yes.
I believe we had a complete motion.
We need a new second, we need a second.
Second the motion.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Now we look forward to the project going forward, filling this hole in the block.
Good luck.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, good luck.
Appreciate it. Sorry about.
Oh,
Oh, you're fine.
that was my fault. I should have known my Robert's rules, but.
No sidebar discussion.
Thank you.
Motion.
So,
Yeah.
we'll-
Same thing, you guys will get the COAs in the coming days, I'll just get them all written up for you guys.
Sounds
Thanks.
great.
Thanks for- Of course.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
The motion to adjourn.
Second.
You handled that.